Okay, people, thank you for joining. We are here to talk about Tether today, which has publicly resisted sanctions by the Treasury Department against Tornado Cash. What do you make of that decision and how significant is it?
Well, the sanctioning of Tornado Cash by the Treasury is very significant because it's the first time, or one of the first times, that a government has just sanctioned code. Because Tornado Cash is a system that was put out there. It's code written by anonymous people, and they're sanctioning the use of that. And on one hand, code is free speech, and so there's a lot of people arguing about that. On the other hand, in this instance, it is believed by the US Treasury that that code is being used for money laundering. So it's a really sticky situation. And the question that has come up is Tether, one of the largest stable coins, is not freezing those accounts. But in reality, Tether has not been contacted by anyone. According to all the press releases that I've read, it states that Tether, no one's contacted them yet. It's just that Tornado Cash has been sanctioned. So I believe once they're contacted, then they'll have a decision to make as whether or not to follow that. I believe that they probably would, but only time will tell.
They've been public about their stance, and fair enough the point that they haven't been contacted. Is there any reason that the company should be concerned, or are there any legal risks or repercussions at this time when they supposedly have not been contacted? Or is there anything that they should be concerned about with regard to the stance that they're taking so publicly?
Well, the difference between, for instance, Circle and USDC, who, when the sanctions came out, they actually stopped taking those transactions. Circle is a US based company and takes US customers and is governed by the US government. Tether is not a US based company and does not accept deposits or customers from the US, and therefore they're under a slightly different jurisdiction. But that's what raises a really interesting point here, which is this new technology, blockchain in general, and the way it's being used is to do financial transactions on a global level. This has never been possible before. So before the advent of technology, all the uses of currencies, for the most part, was ring fenced within a country and much easier for governments to control and to regulate. However, now that these technologies are there to make transactions global, almost instant, almost free, it's very difficult for the governments of the world to control how they're used. And so we're on a new frontier. And so there's a bit of chaos and it's a bumpy ride because it's a gray area and the regulations have not caught up with the technology. A lot of the people in the industry are welcoming regulations. A lot of the major players want regulations because then they can operate completely above board in a way that they know that's above board. Right now, I believe the majority of the big companies are doing their best to operate above board, even though there's no regulations. And so over time, the regulations will catch up with the advancing technology and we'll reach this equilibrium where it is safe for users to use these large companies that use this technology and for users to transact globally with these currencies in a way that they know is also covered by the government and they're not doing anything illegal. But it's still early days, and at the moment, it's the new frontier.
What kind of year has it been like for stablecoins as you see it, and where do you see it going next?
Well, my prediction for stable coins is that they will be stable. So that's one prediction I can make with a fairly bit of confidence. Unlike when people say, where's Bitcoin and Ethereum going? Well, that's going to go up and down. But stable coins will be stable. There was a shakeout and Terra Luna, obviously, with the crash there. But that was an algorithmic stablecoin, which we've covered in the past. It's an experiment, and that experiment failed. But asset-backed stablecoins have proven the test of time now for almost 10 years and tens and hundreds of billions of dollars of transactions that they'll hold their peg. So I believe stablecoins are going to be more and more important as the industry grows because they're the foundation. It's the technology and it's the ability to do these transactions with a currency that you're familiar with, dollars, euros, yen. So it's a very important part of the ecosystem.
Are algorithmic stablecoins doomed forever, or do you see a future for them?
It's a tricky question. I would say for the most part, it's going to take quite a while for people to place their trust in something like that because there's always a black swan event that will break the algorithm. And someone will try to manipulate it, like potentially happened last time, and it will crash the token. So I don't see why. There'd be great benefits if someone can figure that out because then you don't need to park billions of dollars of cash to back those tokens. However, without that, or without a government guaranteeing that token, I don't see how anyone's going to purely place their trust at the tens of billions of dollars level in an algorithm.
And then turning to Bitcoin and Ether, what do you make of the year, and where do you see it ending this year?
This industry is a roller coaster. So if investors are going to participate, they need to be prepared for that. This is not stocks. This is not traditional investing. It's a completely different type of asset class that's extremely volatile. So you have to, accept the huge downs if you want the meteoric rises. And so you're on a roller coaster. And if anyone can predict anything different, I don't believe that they're being truthful, because there's no way to predict the future other than it's going to continue to go up and down. My belief is that over time, that line continues to go up, because there will be more and more utility for Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of those cryptocurrencies, more use cases, much more ease of use. It'll be much safer and more use cases to transact with those types of currencies. So the price will go up over time and the technology will get better.
I'm not going to ask you for a price prediction, but investors are kind of split on whether the bottom is in. And like I said, we've had some relief, but a lot of investors worry that it will turn down again. We're just talking about volatility, so that may be likely. But do you think that it falls lower than the lows that we saw in mid-June around the upper $16,000, $17,000 level? Or do you think that is sort of the low point for the year?
It really is impossible to predict. So I appreciate these types of investments as really long-term holds. I tell all of my friends and people who ask me, buy one Bitcoin for each one of your kids. That was a lot easier back when Bitcoin is a few $100s, and now it's a bit more of a stretch, but it's going to be their college fund. And so, and it's a great investment for that if someone's interested in that level of volatility and that level of risk, because it's kind of fun to watch it and it helps them participate and give them something fun for their kids to be involved in, because cryptocurrencies are going to be such a big part of our lives moving forward.